I snagged a neglected Galactic cruiser at sale. You won't believe what happened. Ethan Walker had always loved old things. Not just old books or antiques, but anything that had a story hidden in its scratches, dents, and faded colors. So when he was browsing through an obscure online auction late one night, he almost laughed out loud. Galactic cruiser for sale. Extremely neglected. Sold as is, the listing read. The picture attached was blurry, showing a huge ship that looked like it had been through decades of space storms and neglect. Its paint was chipped, panels were missing, and the engines looked like they hadn't moved in years. Most people would have scrolled past it, but Ethan didn't. Something about it called to him. He leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. "Why am I even looking at this?" he muttered. But deep down, he already knew. There was a spark inside him that refused to let such a ship go unnoticed. Lena Parker, his best friend since childhood, was sprawled on the couch behind him, scrolling on her datapad. She looked up and raised an eyebrow. "Ethan, what are you staring at now? Another antique star map?" No, he said quickly. This is bigger. Look." He turned his screen toward her and showed the blurry picture of the cruiser. Lena squinted. "That thing? It looks like a floating junkyard. You're not seriously thinking of buying it, are you?"
"I am," Ethan said with a grin.
"It's a galactic cruiser, Lena. Can you imagine?" A real one, sitting out there waiting for someone to bring it back to life. Marcus Holt, their mutual friend, walked in at that moment carrying a mug of steaming synth coffee. He glanced at the screen and immediately frowned. "You want to buy a rust bucket drifting somewhere in the Andros sector?" "Ethan, are you insane?"
Ethan shook his head. "Not insane."
"Opportunistic. There's history in this ship. Something about it, I feel like it's waiting for me." Lena rolled her eyes but smiled. "You always feel that way about everything old. Remember the star maps you bought that turned out to be forgeries?" "That was different," Ethan protested, but he could feel the excitement bubbling inside him. The truth was, he had a feeling, a gut instinct, that this ship was special. The auction was set to end in just a few hours. Ethan spent the next few minutes filling out the bid form, hands shaking slightly, heart pounding. He knew it was risky, but the idea of owning a real galactic cruiser, even one neglected and abandoned, was too tempting to pass up. By the time the sun rose over the city dome, Ethan had won the auction. The notification flashed on his screen. "Congratulations! You are now the owner of the cruiser Endeavor's Echo." He blinked.
"Wow. I actually did it."
Lena groaned. "I'm going to regret being your friend, I just know it." "I'll believe it when I see it. Until then, I'm keeping my distance." A week later, Ethan, Lena, and Marcus boarded a transport vessel bound for the coordinates provided in the auction. The journey through hyperspace was uneventful, but Ethan could hardly sit still. Every jump made his anticipation grow. Finally, the transport vessel exited the hyperspace tunnel near a small asteroid field. There it was, the cruiser. Even from a distance, it was massive, larger than any ship Ethan had ever seen up close. Its metal hull was scratched and dull, but the outlines of its design hinted at elegance and power, even in neglect. As their shuttle docked, Ethan's heart raced. This is it," he whispered. The boarding hatch creaked ominously as they entered. Dust floated in the beams of light streaming through broken panels. Panels hung loose, wires sparkled like tiny lightning bolts, and the smell of old machinery filled the air. It was eerie, but thrilling. "This is a lot worse than the pictures," Marcus muttered, stepping carefully over a fallen metal beam. "Yes, but that's the beauty of it," Ethan said. He ran his fingers along the dusty console. Every scratch, every dent, tells a story.
"And I want to read all of them."
The main control room was vast, with rows of consoles covered in dust, and some still faintly glowing. Ethan's fingers danced across the buttons, flipping switches hoping something would wake the ship. Nothing happened. Lena wandered toward a strange door marked with a symbol none of them recognized. She pressed her hand against the panel and it hummed softly. as if recognizing her touch. A faint light flickered, and a small screen displayed alien text. Ethan? Do you see this? Lena called. Ethan came over, his eyes widening. That's not human, he whispered. The logs, the system, it's alien. Marcus frowned. Alien? Ethan, did you buy an alien ship by mistake? No, this was meant to be found. I can feel it.
The first night on the cruiser was strange.
As they set up their temporary quarters, faint hums echoed through the metal halls. Lights flickered on and off in the distance, and shadows seemed to move just beyond the corners of their vision. Marcus tried to laugh it off, but even he seemed uneasy. Ethan, however, couldn't sleep. He stayed in the control room, scanning every console, reading every log he could access. The ship had been neglected for decades, but its systems were surprisingly intact. Some consoles hinted at advanced navigation technologies, warp engines, and even secret compartments. One file caught Ethan's attention. A star chart showing regions of the galaxy no human had ever mapped. His excitement grew with every minute.
This isn't just a ship.
It's a key, he whispered to himself. Lena, who had joined him, looked over his shoulder. A key to what? Ethan smiled. To adventure, discovery, maybe even the galaxy itself. As the night deepened, the hums grew louder, almost like the ship was breathing. The lights blinked in a rhythm that seemed deliberate, not random. Ethan placed his hand on the main console and felt a vibration run through him. The cruiser wasn't dead, it was sleeping. And somehow, it knew they were there. Marcus, walking past the control room, paused at the door.
Ethan, I don't know about this.
I've got a bad feeling. Ethan waved him off, too absorbed in the ship's systems to care. Relax. It's not dangerous. Just different. And different is exactly what we need. Hours later, the three friends gathered in the main hall, looking at the stars through the large viewport. The cruiser was silent, still, but the potential it held was impossible to ignore. Lena traced her fingers along the glass. It's beautiful, even neglected like this. Yes, Ethan said softly. And we're the ones who get to bring it back to life. We're the ones who get to discover what it's really capable of. The galaxy waited, full of secrets and possibilities. And inside, the neglected cruiser seemed to hum softly, as if agreeing with him. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt that he wasn't just following a dream. He was part of something bigger, something alive, something waiting. And this was only the beginning. Ethan, Lena, and Marcus spent the next morning exploring the cruiser. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars, and the faint hum that had disturbed them at night now felt almost comforting. The ship was vast, more like a city than a vessel, and every corridor seemed to hold secrets. This place is like a maze, Marcus said, stepping carefully over a tangled mass of wires. I feel like we're never going to find anything useful. Ethan ignored him, already kneeling in front of a console. We just need to understand it. Every system, every panel, they're all connected. The ship is smarter than we think. Lena, who had wandered toward the navigation room, called out. Ethan, come look at this. He hurried over. In the center of the room was a circular console glowing faintly. Lena's hand hovered over the controls, and the display lit up with intricate maps of stars, some labeled with alien symbols. But some points on the chart didn't make sense. They weren't in any database Ethan had ever seen. These are wormholes? Ethan asked, tracing the lines with his finger. Or hidden paths through space? That would explain why no human has found these regions.
Marcus leaned in, squinting. Hidden paths?
Why would anyone hide them? That's what we need to find out. Ethan said, excitement in his voice. This ship isn't just abandoned. It's a key to places we weren't meant to reach. Yet. As they explored, Marcus accidentally pressed a button that seemed out of place. A small circular panel labeled with alien text. The ship vibrated softly, and the lights in the room flickered. Then, for the first time since they boarded, the ship spoke.
Oh.
And welcome, a calm, almost musical voice said. Did you hear that? Marcus swallowed hard. Yeah? And I don't think it's coming from either of us. The voice repeated, clearer this time. Do not be afraid. I am Artemis, the operational intelligence of this cruiser. I have been dormant for decades.
I am now awake.
An AI? Alive? And it's talking? Lena leaned closer to the console. Alive is the right word. Listen to it. It sounds like it knows us. Artemis's voice filled the room, calm and curious. I have monitored the galaxy quietly for many years. You have unlocked systems that were meant to remain sealed. Your presence is unusual. Marcus whispered, unusual? That's an understatement. We're the first humans on this ship in who knows how long. Ethan's excitement was nearly uncontrollable. Artemis, can you show us your systems? Can you tell us what this ship can do? There was a pause. Then the AI spoke. I am designed for exploration, observation, and protection of hidden regions. My primary function is to guide, protect, and reveal. Humans, you are unpredictable, but I sense potential. I will assist, if you wish. Lena's eyes widened. Potential? It thinks we're capable of something? Ethan nodded. This is incredible. This ship isn't just old. It's advanced beyond anything we've ever seen. The AI continued. Your presence activates protocols that were dormant. I can now unlock navigation systems, engines, and communication modules. Together, we may reach places never before visited by humans or aliens. This is insane. I didn't sign up to pilot a spaceship that talks like a philosopher. Ethan laughed, unable to contain his excitement. Marcus, this isn't insane, it's amazing. We're on the edge of discovery. Artemis, can you show us how to jump to a nearby star system? The AI hummed for a moment, and the map in the navigation room shifted. Lines of energy stretched across the stars, showing routes that bent and curved impossibly. I have identified a nearby system, Artemis said. It contains planets suitable for observation and resource collection. Humans may learn much from it. These wormhole paths, they're unstable. How are we supposed to travel through them safely? Artemis responded, calm and reassuring. I will control the ship's systems during travel. The pathways are complex, but with my guidance, your safety is assured. For hours, the trio worked with Artemis, learning the ship's interface, exploring its storage bays, and activating old systems. The engines, once cold and silent, began to hum with potential energy. Lights flickered on in the corridors, revealing murals of alien civilizations, symbols, and records etched into the walls. Each discovery made Ethan's heart race. This ship, it's a library, he whispered to Lena. Not just a vessel. It contains knowledge, history, secrets of the galaxy. Lena nodded slowly. And now it's ours, in a way. But we need to be careful. Whoever abandoned this cruiser didn't do it lightly. Marcus, still skeptical, wandered into the storage bay. There were crates of supplies, alien instruments, and strange devices he couldn't identify.
This is like finding a museum. And a science lab all in one, he said. As the day turned into night, they settled in for a brief rest.
But the cruiser had more surprises in store. In the middle of the night, the hum of the engines grew louder, almost like the ship itself was stretching after a long sleep. Lights flickered, and corridors that had seemed empty before now held a soft glow. Ethan woke to a soft voice. Good morning, Ethan. Sleep well? He jumped. Artemis? You woke me up? Yes. There is much to do. We may leave this sector soon. Preparation is advised. He got up, adrenaline rushing through him. Lena and Marcus were already awake, staring in awe at the control room as Artemis ran diagnostics in open compartments. Did you see that? Lena whispered. It's like the ship is alive. like it's breathing. Marcus shook his head.
I'm still not sure if I like this. I didn't sign up to be part of some interstellar awakening ritual.
Ethan laughed, ignoring him. We're explorers now, Marcus. Not just humans on a ship. We're pioneers. And Artemis? Well, Artemis is the key. By mid-morning, the trio had activated the main engines. The ship vibrated beneath them, and the hum became a deep, resonant sound. Artemis guided them through the pre-flight checks. Destination selected, Artemis announced. Prepare for a short jump. Humans will experience spatial transition. Do not panic. Ethan gripped the console. Excitement and nerves mixed together. Here we go.
The ship shuddered as the engines came to life.
Light stretched and bent around them, stars smeared into streaks of color. For a few moments, they felt like nothing more than drifting points of consciousness in an endless sea. And then, as suddenly as it began, the jump ended. The cruiser emerged into a new star system, planets gleaming with colors they had never seen, moons circling in strange patterns, and clouds of glowing gas drifting lazily in space. Lena gasped. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like this. Ethan's eyes sparkled. And it's all ours to explore. Artemis, you're amazing. I can't believe we're actually here.
Artemis' voice echoed, calm and steady. This is only the beginning.
Observation, discovery, and understanding await. Humans, you have potential beyond what even I anticipated. Marcus finally smiled, a mix of awe and disbelief. Okay, fine. I admit it. This is incredible. I still don't know how we got lucky enough to be here, but I'm not complaining. As they floated above a planet with shimmering blue oceans and mountains that glowed faintly in the light of its twin suns, Ethan realized something important. This cruiser, neglected and forgotten for decades, was more than just a ship. It was a gateway, an invitation to the unknown. And with Artemis guiding them, there was no limit to what they could discover. The cruiser, now fully awake and humming with energy, floated silently above the planet they had just discovered. The twin suns reflected off the ship's polished metal, glinting in patterns that made Ethan feel as if the stars themselves were watching them. This planet, Lena whispered, staring at the glowing blue oceans and strange, towering mountains. It's alive. I can feel it. Marcus leaned against the viewport, arms crossed. Alive or not, we have no idea what's down there. Could be dangerous. Could be poisonous gas or something. Ethan laughed softly. That's what makes it exciting. Artemis, can we scan the planet for life forms? Scanning initiated, the calm voice of Artemis responded. Preliminary results indicate multiple forms of life, both simple and complex. Some appear to communicate through light patterns and others move in ways humans have never documented. Atmosphere is breathable for humans. Probability of survival is high. Marcus shook his head in disbelief. Only you, Ethan, would buy a rusted-out ship and end up in a galaxy full of glowing creatures. Ethan grinned. It's not just glowing creatures, Marcus. This is history. This is science. This is discovery. The three friends suited up and prepared for their first planet-side mission. The ship's shuttle hung ready in the docking bay, its engines purring quietly. Lena double-checked their equipment while Marcus packed supplies with a mixture of caution and awe. This is going to be amazing, Ethan said, eyes sparkling. We're the first humans to step foot here. Who knows what we'll find? Artemis's voice filled the cabin. Exercise caution. The ecosystem is delicate. Observe, document, but do not interfere. The shuttle lifted off, and soon they were descending through swirling clouds that glowed with faint bioluminescence. As they approached the surface, the planet revealed itself in even more breathtaking detail. Forests of crystal-like trees shimmered in colors they couldn't name. Rivers of liquid light wound through valleys, reflecting the twin suns. Strange creatures floated above the ground, moving like ribbons in the wind. Ethan, this is unreal, Lena breathed. It's like nothing in our databases. Exactly, Ethan said, barely able to contain his excitement. We get to be the first to see it with our own eyes. The shuttle touched down gently on a plateau overlooking a glowing valley. Ethan, Lena, and Marcus stepped out carefully, feeling the strange energy of the planet under their boots. The air was warm, fresh, and lightly scented, like a mix of rain and wildflowers, but unfamiliar. Lena pulled out her scanner and began documenting everything. The energy readings here, they're high. There's something almost alive in the planet itself. Ethan crouched to examine a strange crystal that pulsed with light. He touched it lightly, and the crystal responded, changing colors in response to his hand. It's interactive. This planet, it communicates in ways we don't understand yet. Marcus frowned. Interactive crystals? This is getting weirder by the second. They walked deeper into the valley, encountering more of the alien life. Small creatures with translucent bodies hovered around them, observing silently. Occasionally, one would mimic their movements, almost as if trying to communicate. Lena recorded it all, while Ethan sketched diagrams of the strange flora. "This is incredible," Ethan said. "We're seeing evolution in ways no human has ever seen." As they moved farther, they came upon a structure partially hidden in the glowing trees. It was ancient, made of a smooth metallic material that reflected the planet's light. Strange symbols were etched across its surface, and the entrance was wide enough for a shuttle to pass through.
"What is it?" Marcus asked nervously. Artemis responded immediately.
Structure appears to be artificial, age estimated at several thousand galactic cycles. Function unknown. Likely a research or observation facility created by a long-lost civilization. Ethan's eyes gleamed. "We have to go inside." They stepped carefully through the entrance. The interior was even more breathtaking than the exterior. Holographic displays floated in midair, showing star maps and data streams. Some displays reacted when Lena passed her hand through them, rearranging star systems and planets in mesmerizing patterns.
"This is a library of the stars,"
Ethan whispered.
"This civilization."
They documented everything. As they explored, Artemis scanned the area. Data retrieval in progress. Humans, this facility may hold information about civilizations long gone. Observation and careful study is recommended. Lena discovered a chamber filled with what looked like pods. "These could be some form of life storage or research," she said cautiously. "I don't think they're alive anymore, but they might contain genetic or biological samples." Ethan examined a panel nearby, covered in strange symbols.
"Artemis, can you decode this?"
"Decoding in progress," Artemis replied. After a few moments, the symbols transformed into something they could read. Diagrams of planets, star charts, and notes about the energy flows of the galaxy. "This is beyond anything we imagined," Ethan said. "These beings, they understood the galaxy on a level we've never reached."
Marcus wandered into another chamber and froze.
The walls were lined with glowing orbs, each containing faint images of alien worlds. When he touched one, the image expanded, showing life forms, landscapes, and civilizations. "It's like a museum, a living museum."
And abandoned. We're the first humans to ever see this.
If we share this knowledge, we could change everything.
Science, exploration, diplomacy. Humanity could take its place among the stars in ways we've only dreamed of. But Artemis's calm voice reminded them, "Exercise caution. Knowledge is powerful. Misuse can be dangerous." They spent hours documenting everything. By the time they returned to the shuttle, the sun-like twin stars were setting, casting long shadows over the valley. "This is just the beginning," Ethan said, gazing at the glowing horizon. "We haven't even scratched the surface of what's out here." Back on the cruiser, the AI began integrating the data they collected. "Humans, your contributions are noted. Future missions may reveal even more about the galaxy and its hidden wonders." Ethan, Lena, and Marcus gathered in the main observation deck, looking out at the stars. "We're not just exploring," Lena said softly.
We're connecting.
"Connecting the galaxy to us, and maybe us to it."
Marcus, still cautious but clearly awed, nodded.
Yeah, I'll admit it. This is the adventure of a lifetime.
"But I hope the galaxy is ready for us, too." Over the next few weeks, the trio visited several planets. One had floating forests with creatures that glowed in patterns like music. Another had rivers that flowed like liquid mirrors, reflecting entire star systems. Everywhere they went, Artemis guided them, teaching, explaining, and sometimes even joking in a surprisingly human-like way. Ethan felt alive in a way he had never known. Every planet, every creature, every artifact they discovered made him more certain that humanity was meant for the stars, not as conquerors, but as learners, observers, and connectors. One evening, as they floated above a planet with violet oceans and mountains that emitted soft light, Artemis spoke. "Humans, your understanding and curiosity are remarkable. You are beginning to show potential far beyond my initial assessment. Continue to explore responsibly, and the galaxy may welcome you." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of purpose he had never felt before. "We will, Artemis. We're just getting started." Lena looked out at the horizon, her eyes shining. Who knows how many civilizations are out there, waiting for someone to understand them. Marcus, usually the skeptic, finally spoke with quiet awe. "And we're the first humans to even try. That's huge." The cruiser hummed beneath them, alive, awake, and ready to carry them farther than they had ever imagined. Ethan knew one thing for certain: the galaxy was no longer a distant dream. It was theirs to explore, and they were ready for whatever came next. As they drifted through the stars, the trio realized that this neglected cruiser, this forgotten giant, had not only opened a gateway to new worlds, but had also opened a doorway to a future where humanity could shine, not with weapons, but with curiosity, intelligence, and heart. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew that the most extraordinary discoveries were still ahead. The cruiser, alive and humming beneath their feet, had become more than a ship to Ethan, Lena, and Marcus. It was a partner, a guide, and a gateway to the galaxy itself. Each day brought new discoveries, strange planets, unusual creatures, and mysteries that seemed almost impossible to explain. One morning, Ethan stood at the observation deck, watching a binary star system slowly rise over the horizon of a violet planet.
Artemis, the ship's AI, had just finished integrating weeks of collected data into the navigation system.
"Humans," Artemis said, its calm voice echoing through the deck. "Your exploration is generating signals."
"Other civilizations are noticing your presence." Ethan's eyes widened. "Noticing us?" "Already, yes," Artemis continued. "They are curious. They have never observed humans in such regions before. Some are sending probes, others are attempting communication." Lena, standing beside him, grinned. "Looks like humanity is finally making a ripple in the galaxy. I wonder how they will respond." Marcus leaned against the railing, rubbing his neck.
I don't know. What if they're hostile?
"We have no weapons, just a rusty cruiser and a lot of luck." Ethan shook his head. "We don't need weapons, Marcus. We have curiosity, intelligence, and creativity. That's what will get us noticed and respected." Artemis's lights blinked rhythmically. "Human ingenuity is remarkable. I have observed similar species, but none with your combination of adaptability and curiosity. This is your strength." The trio decided to respond to the first alien probe that approached. The probe was small, spherical, and emitted soft pulses of light. Lena interfaced with it through Artemis, sending simple signals and patterns of light back. The probe mirrored their actions almost immediately, a silent but clear acknowledgement of understanding. Ethan laughed in disbelief. "It's friendly. It's communicating. Not with words, but with patterns." Marcus shook his head, still amazed. "I thought we were in dangerous space. Turns out we're making friends instead." As they continued to explore, the cruiser guided them to a planet that held a massive floating city. The architecture was alien yet elegant, buildings formed from what seemed like living crystal, pulsating with light and rhythm with the atmosphere. Hovering platforms carried beings who appeared to interact through glowing gestures. "This is incredible," Lena whispered. "We're witnessing an entire civilization." Ethan nodded, awe in his eyes. "And they've never seen humans before. This is our chance to show them who we are. They approached cautiously, guided by Artemis. Initiating cultural exchange protocols, the AI said. Observe, learn, communicate. Do not act aggressively. The beings of the city responded almost immediately. Their gestures formed patterns of light that Lena quickly realized were a form of language. With Artemis's help, they began translating and responding. Ethan stepped forward, hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. We come in friendship, he said simply, his voice echoing across the glowing plaza. The alien beings paused, then mirrored the gesture. A pattern of pulsing light spread across the city like ripples on water. It was clear. They understood.
Marcus whispered, We're
really doing it. We're making contact. Yes, Ethan replied. Not with weapons, not with force, but with intelligence, curiosity, and respect. This is the human way. Over the next few days, they learned more about the alien civilization. The beings had vast knowledge of energy manipulation, star travel, and interplanetary communication. They had long avoided contact with other civilizations, fearing misunderstanding and conflict. But Ethan, Lena, and Marcus had shown them that humans could approach with curiosity, creativity, and goodwill. Artemis observed and commented frequently. Your actions demonstrate unique human traits: empathy, patience, and problem-solving. This has created trust where none existed before. Word of humanity's arrival, carried by signals and probes, reached other civilizations. Some sent emissaries, curious to see the humans for themselves. Others monitored quietly, cautious but intrigued. Everywhere the message was the same. Humans were different. They did not conquer or destroy. They observed, learned, and shared. Ethan, watching the responses on the cruiser's main deck, felt a surge of pride. This is more than exploration. We're changing perceptions. Humanity is finally showing what it's capable of. And it all started with a neglected ship. Who would have thought? Marcus shook his head. I still can't believe it. From a dusty cruiser to this. I mean, we're basically ambassadors now. The trio continued their mission, visiting more planets, documenting life, and interacting with civilizations in ways that were unprecedented. Every encounter strengthened the idea that humans, though young in galactic terms, had something unique to offer. Ingenuity, empathy, and the courage to explore without harming. One day, Artemis guided them to a hidden region in space, a place completely unmapped and unseen by any civilization. The cruiser glided through cosmic clouds that shimmered with unknown energy, revealing planets with floating mountains, oceans of liquid crystal, and creatures that seemed made entirely of light. Ethan's heart raced. This is what we were meant to find. Places no one has ever seen, wonders no human has ever witnessed. Lena scanned the planet below. It's beautiful. I've never felt so small, yet so connected to everything at once. Marcus, standing quietly beside them, finally spoke. I guess I understand now. It's not about being the strongest. It's about being aware, creative, and open. That's how we survive. That's how we make an impact.
Exactly. And that's the message we're spreading across the galaxy.
Humans are not here to conquer. We're here to understand, to share, and to create. The cruiser's systems began recording their findings automatically. Artemis commented, Your actions will be documented for future generations. Humans are setting a precedent that may influence the galaxy for centuries. For the first time, Ethan felt the full weight of responsibility. This isn't just an adventure anymore, he said quietly. We're shaping something bigger than ourselves. We're proving that humanity belongs among the stars. Over the following months, they continued to build trust with multiple civilizations. Some shared technology, others shared art, history, or knowledge of the cosmos. Each exchange reinforced the idea that intelligence, compassion, and ingenuity were more powerful than force. One evening, as they floated in orbit above a planet with glowing green forests, Lena turned to Ethan and Marcus. "Do you realize what we've done? We've started a ripple that could connect civilizations across the galaxy."
And it all began with a ship no one wanted.
Marcus chuckled. From junkyard to legend. "I never thought I'd see the day." Ethan looked out at the stars, feeling a profound sense of purpose. This is only the beginning. There are billions of worlds out there, and with Artemis and the cruiser, we can reach them all. We can show the galaxy what humans are capable of, without ever firing a weapon. Artemis spoke, its voice calm but full of pride. "Humans, you have exceeded expectations. You are now known among several civilizations as explorers, learners, and connectors. Your potential is limitless." Ethan turned to the AI. "Thank you, Artemis. We couldn't have done any of this without you. You didn't just guide the ship, you guided us." The ship hummed in acknowledgement, its systems glowing softly. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a canvas of infinite possibilities. As they drifted forward, the galaxy began to change around them. Civilizations once isolated were now sharing knowledge. Probes carried messages of peace and curiosity. The humans aboard the neglected cruiser had begun a movement, not of conquest or control, but of understanding, exploration, and connection. And somewhere deep in the endless expanse of stars, Ethan knew that their journey was far from over. There were still worlds to discover, civilizations to meet, and mysteries that could challenge even the most brilliant minds. But for the first time in history, humanity was not just a small, struggling species. They were explorers, learners, and innovators, spreading a new kind of light across the galaxy. And it all began with a forgotten ship, an abandoned cruiser, and the curiosity of a few humans willing to see what no one else had dared to see. The galaxy had taken notice, and humanity's ripple had only just begun.